Welcome back to another episode on Stay Gold. This time we'll be discussing a couple streaming movies. Not a whole lot coming out. It's that part of the summer,
Yeah,
coming
we're
to an
getting to
end.
the end. Yeah,
So yeah, all these straight to streaming. Kind of sad. Kind of like, gives you a little something to watch, I guess, on the weekends. But
yeah. These couple. I mean, these two. I would have enjoyed seeing these on the big screen. I think.
I think
For one in particular, I felt that a lot. But
I was thinking that as well. I don't know if we're thinking of the same one, but
yeah,
the two movies we're talking about is Prey and 13 Lives.
yep. Just came out. 13 Lives on Amazon and Prey on Hulu. So you gotta have these streaming services. To keep up to date. But
Kind of have to, yeah.
yeah, which one do you want to start with? I think we have a
13 Lives.
mix. 13 Lives.
I
Okay.
think so. Yeah,
I
I
think
was checking the ratings that we did on Letterboxd, and I was like, "Huh, we're a little flip flopped here." But
Yeah, this should be interesting, I think. But I don't know. I come from a different perspective on 13 Lives, too,
you
so
saw The Rescue.
I did.
I
So
did not.
I think I'm in a group with a lot of other people who did that who are.
Hmm.
It definitely lands different. I don't know. And I don't know. What were your thoughts on it, first off, as someone who hasn't seen that?
Well, I'm a huge fan of that kind of movie. Cave diving goes wrong, swimming. I mean, I hate like the idea of unknown, especially in the water. That's just terrifying. Like
Yeah,
I swore I'd never go in the ocean. I did go in the ocean recently, but I went out to like my shoulders, and I'm like, no,
that's
this is
it.
freaking me out just a little bit.
Yeah, still
So
could touch the ground.
yeah,
Couldn't
yeah, I
leave the
had to make
ground.
sure I could see the ground and touch the ground,
That's
but it
fair.
was still a little freaky.
Yeah.
But yeah, just something about those movies. I don't know. In this one in particular, I think I don't know. I was just invested in all the characters. I mean, the first act was kind of slow going to get you there,
Hmm.
but once they started doing the actual rescue, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty. For me, it was super tense, and I was just like, oh man, this is crazy that they had to like risk putting them under,
Yeah.
and then dragging them because it's 7 hours. Was it one
It's
way?
like 5 hours or 6 hours or
That's
something.
crazy.
It's a long
And
time.
I don't know. And now that I know that there's the rescue, with the actual divers in the movie,
Hmm.
I'm kind of
I
like,
I saw
should I
that.
watch it?
I mean, that's what I wonder about your viewing and most people's viewing is like, did the story really capture you and the events of like what actually happened in that story? Because I didn't. I remembered that happening, but I didn't know all the details when I first saw the rescue. So I had a lot of those moments of discovery of being like, oh, they had to like put them under and like they
Mhm.
were unconscious. Like that was just like the thought of that those situations
Right.
like
And
is
only the people
insane.
doing the rescue could know about it because it
Hmm.
was just such a high risk, and then they
Yeah.
had to have one fall guy that they just kept in office for for the fall guy, and it was
Right.
just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I was invested in the characters. I really liked the obviously Viggo Mortensen and Colin Farrell.
Hmm. Did you watch this
Yeah,
movie for Vigo?
that's
Is that
that's
how it
what
got on your radar?
that's what I was listening to another podcast, and he offhandedly someone mentioned 13 Lives, and
Hmm.
it said Viggo Mortensen. I'm like, hold up, what? And then I was like, Vigo, so I went on his IMDb, of course, and I'm like, huh, 13 Lives. I'm gonna have to check this out. But yeah, that's why I did watch it. Was Vigo.
Yeah, I didn't even know this one was coming out until maybe like 2 weeks ago. I saw
Yeah,
like a promo or an image for it or something, and yeah, I don't know. So it was definitely under the radar, and it's
yeah,
a Ron
no,
Howard movie too, which is kind of
yeah.
crazy. I didn't know that at all that he was working on that. But
It was just I don't know. It was a cool experience. I don't know. I enjoyed it. Maybe I would have had a different perspective if I saw the rescue and then went into
yeah,
it. But I don't know.
I
I
I
was I was on the edge of my seat for that last act. I'm like, are they all? Because I didn't know anything about this story.
okay.
Like, I just knew it was a true story and it
Hmm.
actually happened, but I didn't know if they all came out.
Did you Google it halfway through, or did you enjoy
No,
the? Yeah, that's.
yeah, I just sat there and
I
sucked it
mean,
all in.
I can see why that is engaging for that like the reason. Then, I don't know. I also wonder for this movie because I came in with knowing all the information, so it was definitely at a different engagement level.
Mhm.
But I also felt that this movie just straight up wasn't that entertaining. So like, I wonder, yeah, because I know a lot of people feel that this was one of Ron Howard's better movies, and I found that this was one of the worst ones I've seen of his. But
Really?
yeah, I don't know. It was a very boring and bland experience. I thought just in overall like the and maybe I'm just like nitpicky on some stuff, but like the first of all, just the first act, you said it was slow, but I thought it just jumped to different moments, like it was just hitting a checkpoint thing, which like it's like they watched the rescue or saw the script of the rescue or something, and then just like decided to hit all
Yep.
the beats, like they put it onto like a script sheet and just the beats of it, and we're like, yep, here we go, this one. But I mean, these probably were getting created around the same time, so I don't know like how much overlap
Yeah.
there was, but
I think it was probably just unlucky that this one came out after the rescue, and the
mm,
fact that the rescue is the real divers. Just because
yeah,
I think they were probably filming at the same time. Because I mean, they used, I think it was, I was reading, it was like they used the gym and like created the pathways for them to actually swim, and like Vigo and Colin trained and swam it
hmm.
and did all that cool stuff. But yeah, so I think they were probably being filmed at the same time. It's just kind of unlucky timing that production probably lasted longer on this one because they had to build the set, and
Yeah, it's a lot
I don't
more
know.
production. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's I also have issues with how much like like these big directors and stuff get so much budget and so much time to film their movies that I think that they a lot of times they like overshoot them, and like because I mean I think maybe we're spoiled with Better Call Saul type stuff where they can actually just linger on a shot like
Yeah.
confidently, but with this shit it was just hyper cut. And I think a big thing that really put me off to this movie early on is there's like a scene. It's like 5 minutes into the movie, which is crazy. So I like this is where you're like you gotta like make sure your audience is in with you now. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
and there's a scene. They're like it's like they just did their first dive. They got there and they came out. And it's like a boardroom. They're like, okay, so when do we go in now? You know? And they're like,
Hmm.
well, we can go in now. We know more than you. And then like they like defer to the guy who was already here. And he's like, what does he say? It's like, oh yeah, the divers. This requires a different mindset. You know, like your Navy SEALs, they don't know the right way or whatever. And in that little cutting, there's like a literal cutting error where it's like you see his mouth, and it's like what he says doesn't match.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
I know it's like so quick that it's like some people wouldn't catch it, but like I caught it, and I know that movies do a lot of times where it's like you see the person's mouth moving here, and a lot of times it's not what they say, but the reaction shot
Right.
is important, and you like it, so you want to keep it, and you can just like, well, you just got to deal with that and kind of hope they don't notice or whatever. But this was like cut to specifically show that mistake, the mouth. I was like, dude, you overshot the fuck out of this movie. You didn't get the shot you needed for that guy's line,
Yeah.
like. So that I mean that really put me off because I was like, dude, are you like you didn't catch this? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like, are you that lazy, Ron Howard? I was like, it
I do
really put me
think
off.
that I do think that the beginning, like I said, it was slow, but I think they were just trying to get to that third act. Like they needed all, like you said, all those checkpoints to show how many people were there helping,
Yeah,
and then they needed to get to that third act where it was you're holding your breath, hoping that all these boys come out, you know,
yeah, and I think
alive.
the structure of the movie too didn't really do it for me too though, because like they revealed that the boys are alive maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes into the movie, you
Mm.
know, and I mean it's like the nature of how that event took place is that it was the execution of getting them out. Obviously,
Yep.
that was the highlight of it all. But I just felt like in the documentary I watched, like they just highlighted how the humanity of those moments, whereas this was all just so methodically boring that I was just like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you? And they're following the main trio of divers, main duo, mostly,
Yeah.
and they're so milk toast and boring that it makes sense, you know, like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I think a lot of it was when Joel Edgerton, that's his name, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. When he comes in, he breathes a lot of life into
yeah,
the movie, I think.
hmm,
And I think that's when, like I said, it really ramps up there because then he comes in, he's, an anesthesiologist. So you're like,
like, what are they
well,
gonna do here? Holy shit!
right.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Hmm.
I can see where you're coming from. I didn't, I was more invested in the fact because I like true stories like this where it's like a crazy situation. Like these kids go to this cave that they go to all the time.
Yeah.
Monsoon season comes early and it just kind of screws it up. And the whole time I'm thinking, well, what about the one thing that did bother me was the CO2 levels. They mentioned it like twice,
in
I'm like, I feel
the
like that
cave with the
was
kids.
yeah. I'm
Hmm.
like, I feel like they should have, I don't know, touched on how important it was that they're breathing in there. They're in there for
They're
2 weeks
stuck there.
almost,
Yeah, I
or
think it
more.
was longer. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
longer.
So like, I don't know. I feel like that was another main concern. The main concern was obviously getting them out,
Hmm.
but like, there's other dangers. So I don't know. That's my only nitpick though was that because I don't know. I was invested in the story, not so much the characters, I guess, and the idea of seeing if they're going to get these
Yeah.
kids out.
Well,
So
I can see like that's probably what Ron Howard was going for. It shows like multiple angles of the event, not just the main duo. It shows like the farmers and stuff, and it
yeah,
shows the government and how they're all playing different little parts. It's very like execution focused, which I mean, I get it. I think I rated this one a little lower than I probably should have, just in general,
I
because I
was a
was
little
soured.
shocked, but
Yeah, I gave it 2.5. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I give it 4.5. So I was like,
Right.
I don't know. I just was feeling good after watching it. Like it was the first movie in a while that Sarah actually sat down and didn't fall asleep in. So she was
Wow.
engaged the whole time. I
Yeah.
was engaged the whole time. So
It definitely affected my viewing then, because
yeah,
just knowing. But I also think the rescue, it's worth a watch if you're curious to see different execution on the same story, I guess, because like
Mhm.
as I was watching Ron Howard's version, I was like, well, this wasn't as good. This isn't as engaging. This wasn't like because the documentary like is laid out also in an equally linear manner, and it's also just as engaging. And you have the firsthand commentary of the guy that was there, and
right.
they have like the graphics in Ron Howard's version. They're fine. Like they show you what the cave system is, but like the graphics in the documentary system, they give you like the actual like information, and so it just seems like the Ron Howard version is just like half-assed after watching that one almost.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's worth a watch to see the differences, I'd say.
yeah, yeah. I thought about watching it, but it's on Disney Plus, right?
Hmm.
The one streaming service I don't have.
Dude, you just had a kid, man. You're gonna have to get it now, right?
Oh, I just go to Disc Replay and buy all the DVDs
Yeah.
because they're like have a buy three get nine free or whatever the fuck. So
Just get your kid a little portable DVD player. Just plop it in front
yeah.
of him.
We went out, we bought a DVD player and a bunch of DVDs. So.
Yeah, nice.
But I do want to watch it, so I don't know.
It's worth a
That's
watch,
kind
I'd
of
say.
like vibe.
That's what sucks too on these streaming services. I mean, I don't know if you've been following like the HBO Max shit.
Yeah.
Like they're literally cutting shit from. I mean, that's I've been up in my DVD stock. You can see it in a little bit here, but
Yeah.
it's like I just don't trust the fact that I love some of the things I want to watch, and they're all on
Mhm.
streaming services, but for how long?
What happens when they're not? Right.
Exactly. Like I
That's
don't
what
know.
I always tells like Sarah. She's like, "Why do you get all these?" I'm like,
Mhm.
well, for one, I like to collect them. I think they look
Same.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
But also, and then my buddy's like, "Who buys DVDs? You have digital media now." I'm like, "Shut up."
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with getting physical
No, not at all.
media.
Also, I
It's
mean,
it's gone
relying
the next
on
day.
the internet too is
Yeah.
you never know. Like, I mean, the streaming quality might not be as great as it would be just playing it on a disc.
Yeah,
Also, your internet
for
just
sure.
might poop out and you literally can't watch anything.
Yeah.
Like,
Then you're just handicapped. Right there,
yeah, just some backups on DVD. You know, and I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I think. I always picture the apocalypse like scenario, and I'm like the old man down the street who just has all the DVDs. Like we watch
Yeah.
every Friday. It's like
Yeah.
crank up the generator, boys. Like
Right.
let's pop on a
That's
movie.
And another thing is like HBO. I watched both of the raids on there, and
Mm.
it's so strange that they put it on there. It's a Indonesian film, so the language is Indonesian,
Yeah.
but on HBO, it's dubbed Spanish. So like they're speaking Indonesian,
Spanish
speaking
subtext.
Spanish.
No, hearing Spanish.
Yeah, you're hearing Spanish come out
Yeah.
of their Indonesian lips,
Yeah.
right? And then underneath is English subtitles. I'm like,
Hmm.
but why?
So many
There's no
layers.
option either. The only other option is to change it to not even Indonesian. It was just a different forget what the other language was. But
Yeah.
yeah, both of them
That's
are like
crazy.
that. And I'm like, so I bought the Blu-rays because I'm like, I want to hear the Indonesian version. I
Mhm.
can't stand watching. But yeah, so that's another thing. Streaming services aren't that reliable.
Yeah,
They're
you
great.
got-
Don't get me wrong.
Got all the settings to adjust on DVD. You got some bonus features, even, dude.
Right,
I don't know bonus
right.
features I've watched in my life. It's worth it. But, anyways,
Shit. Watching Friends on DVD, you get
Mm.
like an extra 5 to 10 minutes per episode of bonus content.
seriously, every
Yeah,
episode.
there's like pretty much every episode. There's like scenes because I've watched it on HBO too, and we've watched it on Netflix. I've seen it so many times.
Mm-hmm.
But like I grew up watching them on DVD because I got them for my birthday one year, and going to watching them on streaming service. I'm like, they left some scenes out.
And it's like,
So
I
when we were
remember some
watching
of
them
the
in the
shit.
yeah, we were watching them in the hospital, and Sarah's like, this isn't in the original. I'm like, you're experiencing it. This is the way to do it.
DVD, baby. Yeah.
So
But yeah. Anyways, these streaming movies, we will never.
yeah,
It's like I have some like movies on my list of like, yeah, I need to get those on DVD if they ever come out. But
right.
like, Don't Look Up is one I really would like to have on DVD, but I don't think I'll ever have it. You know, like, and
Yeah,
it sucks. Maybe Prey will come out on DVD because it's like a
maybe.
Predator-ish, it's like
Yeah.
universe type movie. Um, 13 Lives. I don't really see that coming out on DVD though.
Yeah, I think it'll just be on Prime
Yeah,
for forever. You could buy the
forever.
digital copy or whatever if you
Yeah.
wanted it.
But yeah. Anyways, last thoughts on 13 Lives for me. I gave it a 2.5. I could probably give it a 3. Don't really know if I could go much higher, honestly. But
Yeah.
and 3 is like, yeah, you did some good shit here. But I mean, honestly, I gave it what I gave it even because of Vigo, Colin Farrell, and Joel Edgerton. Like, I think they
Yeah.
carried the movie. I mean, obviously they carried all of
Agree.
the plot and all the action or whatever, but like
Yeah.
they played it so normal, like that they just disappeared in from their acting selves. I thought in these roles.
I agree. Especially
Espe-
Vigo.
oh, really? I
He
suppose
fits his character.
especially Farrell. So
Oh yeah, he's good too. But I think Vigo really shined. I mean, he always does. But I
yeah, he
think this
does.
was his more like tamed down role where he was just like, he's not British. I don't think so. Is he?
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I don't know. It convinced me. Made me think.
He's
about
just like some loner dude who's just not
Yeah.
gonna. If he's not gonna get out of the cave, he's not gonna do it. You know, like,
Right?
it's just,
That was great when they go down in the cave and they all look at him and he's like,
mhm.
"All right, let's go." I was like,
Yeah.
"That's good."
Yeah, but Colin Farrell, I thought he, like, it took me a few like seconds or minutes to even like recognize him because I kind of forgot who else was in the movie,
Yeah.
and I was like, is that? I was like, holy shit, dude, because he's playing it so like dad, kind of, you
Oh,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, and it landed for me at least.
I think I even read he shaved his beard obviously, but he like got rid of his widow's peak and everything.
Oh, maybe that
So,
helped. Yeah,
yeah.
it kind of took away the edge, literally, or whatever. Yeah, but I gave it a higher rating than I would have wanted to originally because of them, and also just because of the story and how amazing it is. And like, this is a movie that, like, a story that should be made into a movie.
Hmm.
It warrants it. I think just the execution and the viewing order for me didn't do it.
Yeah, understandable. I enjoyed it, so
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that kind of those kind of movies, natural disaster type shit. You know,
Mhm.
cave diving,
Problem
Sanctum,
solving.
Descent, problem solving on the spot. You know,
Yeah.
nature works against you. You know, you can't control it. So, pretty wild. But yeah, on
Yeah.
to the next one.
Yeah, so the other
Oh.
one I watched this weekend,
Yeah,
very
well, we
different
have-
than the one we just talked about, but
Yeah.
yeah, also have differing views, I would assume. This one is Prey, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who was kind of like blew up for 10 Cloverfield Lane. I don't know if you saw that
Mhm.
one.
Yep.
So he kind of is known for taking these smaller properties and giving them a little indie approach type, you know. But I really enjoyed this movie. I don't know. I thought it was a really good addition to the Predator universe. I haven't seen all of the Predators, but I've seen
Mhm.
most. I think the only one I haven't seen is Predator 2,
That's the only one I haven't seen.
which I hear is actually a really good one, so I need to watch it. But yeah, all the other ones, I mean, I've enjoyed Predator for the most part, just all the movies, and I like that creature, and I thought this one was just a nice addition to it. But
Yeah, I thought I enjoy Predator. Really enjoy Predator. You know, those were along the same lines. I started watching First Blood. And there was Predator. You know, those
Right.
nice action movies of the '80s.
yeah,
But yeah, no, this one didn't land for me. I thought it was pretty bad. I gave it a higher rating than I think I wanted to give it, just because there was
Wow.
some cool sequences, and I'm a sucker for blood and gore, so I enjoyed that aspect of it. Glad that was in it, but there was just, I don't know, things that bugged me about it, especially the end. That really.
okay. Well, I've talked to my buddies about this one because they've watched it too, and a lot of the complaints I hear are always about how something shouldn't have worked the way it worked. So, like, are those where a lot of your complaints lie? Because I can understand those. I mean, to me, like, when you break, like, logic in a sequence of, like, of a film, like,
Hmm.
that's what ruined Jurassic World Dominion
Oh
for
yeah,
me. It was like they literally were just not treating their sequences with any form of logic and, like, realism. And I mean,
yeah,
obviously, it's fucking dinosaurs running around. Realism eventually goes somewhere away, but you have to stick to like building correct anticipation with your viewer and
yeah.
stuff like that, and correct outcomes of events. So I've heard a lot of those complaints, and I can understand those, but at a certain point, I kind of like I wave some of them away, being okay. But at a certain point, it can break your movie. So
Yeah, I think there was just scenes. I'll start from like my first complaints was the first act was extremely boring. I actually fell asleep and had to pause it and
wow,
take a small nap because I don't know. I just thought it was very poorly paced in the
hmm.
beginning, but
You didn't like
and
the
the
ship
characters.
flying through the sky, or
It was
thought that
just
was
the
a good
characters. I
intro.
didn't care any about them.
Hmm.
They were super flat, in my opinion, kind of insufferable at times, mostly insufferable. And
Which one specifically?
I think all the male Indians were just kind of made worse than they had to be. I mean,
That might be fair.
I don't think
They became
just the
fodder.
level of I feel like respect that Indians. I mean, I'm no expert in Indians, but I just feel like they have more respect for each other than that. I mean, clearly they're trying to add, a flair to this, of whatever you want to call it. But I just think they had more respect for each other. Maybe I could be
Hmm.
wrong. I don't know, more respect for like making sure everyone's alive and well and not just beating up a little
Yeah.
girl. You know
Yeah, I get you.
that that was weird to me. But also the fact that the predator kind of just decided when he wanted to kill and attack, and she was like, "Oh, well, if we're not attacking him, he doesn't want to attack us." But like when she's standing still, sometimes he comes after her. It's just
Hmm.
like when she's in the bear trap, he just decides to go invisible, but the trappers come, so I guess you can say that's the reason. But like he doesn't hesitate with anybody else. He just fucking slices them and dices them. It's just like
Hmm.
she just needed to live to get to the next scene, to get to the end where the most bullshit thing happens. Whereas this fucking predator, apex predator, right? I mean, he has to be. He hunts. That's why he comes to these nice humid.
That's
And I
what
don't
they
think it was
do.
humid out. These climate areas where it's a challenge for them to hunt.
Hmm.
Um, and he wears this helmet that he's accustomed to, right? He must know the ins and outs of his fucking helmet. So when she puts it on the tree and he goes to shoot his arrow, he knows it's locked in with his helmet. He doesn't have his helmet on. Why did he shoot the arrows? I mean, oh, I know why. So the movie could end, so she could kill the predator. I don't know. That didn't work out for me. I thought
Why
that they were
did
just
he
like,
fire that, or did she fire that?
no, he did. He
He
pulled it up
fired
and
it.
went, and
Yeah.
his helmet was on the tree, but she put it there.
Hmm.
So it's like he knew he didn't have it on. He knew that's his targeting system. But that's just stupid. Like, what if it was back in the forest and the arrows just went? I don't
Yeah.
know. That was they just needed a way for her to win, and all she had was sticks and stones. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the premise was built on that, like sticks and stones versus the predator. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so
Which she
like,
should have lost, realistically, in my opinion. But
I mean, I get it. Yeah. It's like, well, then you're making a movie, so
yeah, I
you
know.
got to have the hero win. So like, I get what you mean. I get what you mean when it's like scenes kind of just happen to then propel her to the next scene to then get her to her end journey.
Yeah,
Obviously, the first time I saw the brother, I was like, that guy's dead. Like that's just part of the journey that girl was on. It was like
right.
overcoming like that position that her brother had or whatever. So like by the end of it, when she's got the tribe's leadership role or whatever, like I mean, it landed for me enough to be like, I think this journey was worth it, minus all the little
Yeah,
issues with plot and stuff. Like, so I don't know, but I also I don't know. I can understand that like everyone's issues with it, and I think it's just kind of fun to talk about this one in particular because it's landing so different for everyone. But
I when I was reading into it, obviously it's the reviews. They're like, "Oh, the best installment since the first one." Actually, I think what's slept on is the Predators with Adrian Brody.
I
Slept on.
hard agree, dude. That one's a great
Yeah,
one.
it is,
Yeah.
and I think that's the best one next to Predator. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even put this maybe fourth. I haven't seen the second one, so I don't want to put it in third
Yeah.
unjustly, you know. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It just the characters weren't compelling enough. Like
I
I
thought
don't
the
know.
main girl carried it well.
When she
I'll
wasn't
say.
speaking, all the speaking that they did was just so cold and stiff, and I don't know.
Hmm.
It didn't land for me. I thought the dialogue was just cringy
That's
and
fair.
it had no life. But when the
Yeah.
action sequences and the big landscape sequences, those are great. I mean,
Hmm.
this director clearly knows how to do a good shot, make it super visually appealing. But I don't know. Other than that, I think it was a big old swing and a miss.
Wow. I agree with the. I think like you can tell that it's a very competent director. I'd say,
Mm,
but I think he might have issues with performance, maybe, like or
yeah,
just getting the right shit, or like covering it correctly, or stuff like that.
yeah,
Getting sequences right. I mean, that's a big like when I think of the biggest issue with the moment at the end with the predator being targeted is that it like swoops around and does like a whole loop, and the predator's like woo, because if it just shot him straight in the head, everyone would be like, whoa, fucking raw, dude, like, because it's like you give that moment of like whoa, it just breaks will with the audience.
yeah.
I
Is
don't.
it-
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's all right. Go ahead. I was
I
just gonna dog on it some more.
No, go ahead, man. I mean, that's what we're here for.
I just, I don't know. It's just unfortunate because it has so much potential. Like I said, when it was violent, and that's what I want out of a Predator movie, you know. But at the same time, some of the violence. I mean, the reveal of the Predator when he, guts the bear, that was super cool.
Yeah.
But like the fact that it chooses its targets that it wants to fucking destroy, and then this little girl gets away all the time, or like that brother in the end,
Well, she's
towards
not a
the end when
threat.
he's like, dan- mm, standing there and he looks down at her and like he just stops fighting for some reason just so he could fucking die because he had to die to keep the plot going, right? So he
Mm.
just stops and he's like, "This is as far as I go," and he fucking dies. It's like you just like were fighting your fucking heart out. You were kicking this guy's ass, and then
He
you're
must
just
have
gonna
like
let.
known he was right behind him or some. That's how I read that, but
But if he stood there for like 15 seconds and he was like,
sequence logic.
he's back here.
Yeah.
Let me think. Let me think of something perfect to say as a cool one-liner before I die.
Yeah.
You know that
Oh yeah.
he could have ducked. I mean, he was sliding all around. Also, how'd she slide so good on the ground? I need to know because that was pretty cool.
Hmm.
But impossible, I think. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll quit. I'll quit dogging on it. You can
No,
go
you're
ahead and
good. No.
tell
I
your
mean,
opinion.
I think I gave it a little bit of love also too. I mean, it's obviously like all Native American cast, and I was
Yeah,
just picturing watching this movie from that lens, and it's like your own action movie for your own history. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, that's really cool. It's just like it's telling the story of that person in that time in a really fun way. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
it's not like dogging it. It's not drama. It's not like it's just sappy. It's just like we got our culture and on the screen and we're fucking kicking some ass and shit. Like so
yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot with it. I don't know, I took
Yeah.
that with it, I guess, but
Yeah.
and
Elevated a little for you.
I also think like the premise of it all is built like very soundly in like in form because like it's just two hunters outmaneuvering each other. You know what I'm saying? Like the predator obviously has his own ideals on what he's trying to hunt with. Native Americans obviously has their own ideals why they hunt. Like they're two different sides of the same coin or whatever. Um, and I thought there was a lot of like smart imagery too with like the Native Americans. For me, I was like, man, they're like you can a lot of the times I can like not really see them in the image. I was like, man, they're like blending in. They're like obviously there it's like a dichotomy for the predator. Like he was
Yeah.
literally camouflaged and blending in. Like they're more natural with the earth. The predator's like this totally unnatural, invisible thing.
Hmm.
I don't know. I dug a lot of the ingrained premise of it too. So that did some goodwill for me also. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. No, there was. It wasn't like my thoughts going into it was like, oh, this is going to be very bad. And granted, I think it was pretty bad, not very bad. I mean, it was entertaining at times, but
Yeah.
it did better than I thought it would in terms of towards like the end, the action sequences that were laid out. I was like, okay, these are fun. You know, these are cool.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of good homages too. I thought like that's where I was having fun. The action sequences are like hell yeah, this is keeping me going or whatever. But then like the homages just to the world and to the predator, I thought were like the spine rip of the wolf. I was like
Yeah,
fucking raw, dude. Like here we,
yeah,
this is these guys are just so fucking weird. And like collecting the skulls. I don't know if we've seen the spray before. That like
yeah,
takes the that was dope as fuck. I was like okay, like
yeah.
it's just building out the lore of that character. Like there's like a misdirect with her going into the mud early. I mean, it comes back
Yeah.
around later, catching him in it or whatever. Which I guess I don't know. It's like homaging to the original because like mud is obviously the thing that takes down the like you can't see in the mud or
Right.
whatever. So it's like a misdirect at first, and then that's eventually what will take this predator down and the other
Right.
predator too. I don't know. There's a lot of like good threads. So overall, I had a pretty good time with it. This is the one I thought I would really enjoy seeing on the big screen. I don't know if yours was 13 Lives,
This
but
no, this was the one that I figured would be better on the big screen,
hmm
just because the way it was shot. I feel like it would have just been more appealing to watch on a larger.
it deserved it. I would say honestly, like, and I think it probably well maybe not. It might not have landed better if you had to leave your home to go see it, and the logic shit really
Yeah.
broke your goodwill or whatever. But
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I mean, I think there's always a little bit better of a experience because you
hmm
don't have the second screen. Like when at the beginning when I was bored, I just pulled out my phone,
yeah, yeah,
scrolled a little bit
yeah.
because, yeah, I don't know.
You
So I
gotta you
think
gotta
there would
pay
have
it
been a
attention.
right. There would have been a better experience, better maybe outcome for my opinions if I was engaged at the theater the whole time. I
hmm
just don't think the logic towards the end, especially the end.
Yeah.
Um, and speaking of ends ruining movies, I'm just gonna throw this in there. You can cut it out if you want, but I watched The Gray Man and another streaming movie.
Me too.
Horrible, horrible, extremely boring action movie. That just goes to show that the Russo brothers, they did cool Marvel movies, but leave it to the professionals making these action movies like David Leitch. Um,
hmm
I mean, the John Wick franchise is those are
Yeah.
how you'd shoot an action sequence. Gray Man, not so much, and the end just totally caved in the movie. Just
hmm
it felt convenient like this one did.
I mean, I agree that
So,
I watched it
and
recently, and that'll be at the bottom of the end of the year
it
talk.
yeah,
For me at
definitely
least.
for me. Yeah, I agree, and I think what I'm getting at to draw a parallel to this and Prey is that getting those convenient ends, I think, is what kind of really sends it over the edge for me. It
I think
was
I
like
agree.
I
I
didn't
think
think this through enough to
yeah.
have something, I don't know,
hmm
or just have if you're gonna do an end like they did in both of these, make it smarter. I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, that's fair because like I think my main gripe with a lot of the movies I've been watching recently that have come out, even with like Nope, it's like which I loved that movie, but like the third act of a lot of movies almost feels like it doesn't even need to be there anymore because we all want
Yeah,
to see it till the second act to see the climax, and
right.
then like at the end it just has nowhere to I don't know nowhere to go.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I know. I don't know. Something about them doesn't. That and I don't know. The action sequences definitely better in Prey, but in Gray Man, I thought they were just they were boring. They were cut to shit. CGI. Fuck
You
that.
talking Gray Man?
Yeah, I just like the Prey. The action sequences were fun. They were good,
Mm-hmm.
pretty decent. I felt like I was engaged. I thought her little axe leash thing was stupid, but um, uh, some might think that's pretty cool. But I thought
Yeah.
the way she's flicking it around, no
Yeah.
fucking way.
Yeah.
That's,
No, that
anyway,
that shit was moving pretty quick.
yeah,
Pretty.
but
It's like Cap Shield, it just
yeah,
it comes back.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. Action sequences are important to me. I'm a huge action guy, and
hmm
like I was talking to Sarah, I think during The Gray Man, and I was like, you can't make a PG-13 hitman sociopath movie. You just can't. Like, there's no blood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's a difference between this kind of action movie and like Mission Impossible, where that's PG-13, but the action sequence, he's not a hitman.
Yeah.
He's, you know,
To me, that movie was like they thought that their characters and world was way more interesting than it was too, because like they were diving in, digging in
Oh
deep
my
to
god.
half their fucking world, and I was just like, dude, I mean, the first that movie again, it's like the first 10 minutes really just put me off because of
Yeah.
how paced. Like they just like had no inkling to care about their audiences. Like I don't know. Yeah, that movie was bad, but
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch it again to like articulate why it was so bad. But I immediately knew it was going to be terrible in the first 10 minutes. Like
No,
that's
I
weird.
did too. I saw Billy Bob Thornton and the horrible CGI chop job they did on him,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Oh well, God, here we go. This is gonna be something." And then
Yeah,
that first action sequence where it's like 1,000 cuts for him to land two punches. I'm
yeah.
like,
That's what I'm saying. They're getting so much money and they're overshooting
yeah,
everything that they have like no creativity. They're just like cover it, fucking cover it. Like
yeah,
whereas like when you have one camera, it's like what are we, how are we telling
yeah.
the whole story here? Like like
Give me a wide shot where I can see these punches actually land and the reaction from these people, not like, a punch lands and then as soon as they react, you cut to another shot, and it's just
yeah,
like, this isn't how you do action, in my opinion. But and him falling out of the airplane, just a CGI mess. Oh my
yeah,
god.
it's bad. That
Didn't
was
even try to have the real actors in there.
yeah, and even Gosling. I mean, I like him a lot, but this movie was like
Not
maybe
for
he
him.
was like trying to play it like I'm an emotionless dude or whatever, but like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. But
A little bit of a tangent there. Sorry.
yeah, I mean that's another streaming movie that came out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
These two, light years above that one. Even 13 Lives, way better, but
Yeah.
still not, good. But
Yeah. 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 Better than that one. Gray Man is bad.
yeah,
It's just another. It just felt like the Russo brothers are like, let's make another Marvel movie, but without
yeah, we
superheroes.
don't have any superheroes, but we want to be globe trotting and
Yeah.
fucking
Right.
epic. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed these streaming movies that came out recently. What did you guys think about them? Which one was your favorite? Because I feel like out of these ones, a lot of people would have a different favorite one. But,
Yeah. I think so too. I
yeah,
think one of these stands out in terms of the tone, but
a little
the
bit.
the other two, I think those will be on people's favorites. I think 13 Lives is what I'm talking about. I kept
Gotcha.
it quiet until just then, but I think that just flies under the radar in comparison. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely the best in my opinion.
Well,
But
all right. I mean, that's why movies are great, right? Everybody hits
exactly,
differently for everybody. Everybody's got different
exactly.
opinions. So. All right.
Yep,
Well, check us out on the next review, guys. Thanks for listening.
yep. Stay gold.